situation is serious. Let's cure it 'cause we're running out of time. It's all so beautiful. Relationships, they seem from the start. But it's all so deadly when love is not together from the heart. Oh, it's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. Miss a kiss, a lover. That girl is poison. Never trust a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Ooh. If I were you, I'd take precaution before I start to meet a fly girl. Because in some portion, you'll think she's the best thing in the world. She's so fly, she'll drive you right out of your mind, steal your heart and then you're blind. Beware, she's scheming, she'll make you think you're dreaming. You'll fall in love and you'll be screaming demon. Poison deadly, moving it slow, looking for another fella like the road, getting paid. Lady, better lay low, scheming on hot money in the pro show. The low pro she'll be cut like an afro. What you saying now? She's a winner to you, but I know she's a loser. Oh, me and the crew used to do poison. Never trust a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Yes, she is. I'm at the bar, shake, breaking and taking them all that night. I play the wall, check out the fellas, the highs and lows. When I open, clocking the hose. One particular girl, she stood out from the rest. Poisonous can be hot power chest. Pivots here and I'm running the show. They'll be a diva. Now you know. You're slick. Blow! Ah! It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. Miss a kiss, a lover. That girl is poison. Never trust a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Hey. Oh, hey. Poison, 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 ooh, poison, poison, poison.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so glad that you are joining us this Saturday for our last October weekly setup. Welcome. My name is Katie Gideon, and I am dialing in from Edinburgh, Scotland. I am super excited to be here. I am super looking forward to the spooky season, so Halloween coming up. So the playlist is going to be a little spooky and a little... Honestly, they're a little kind of throwbacks, I feel like, but I'm really excited. Welcome, everyone. I want to give a huge shout out to my other facilitator who's going to be in the chat. That is the amazing Jennifer O, who is dialing in from Texas. So we are the former Team Texas, the always Team Texas, but we are so excited that you have joined us for your Saturday night weekly social. I already love seeing all of our returning socialers in the chat. You guys make me so happy. It's so wonderful seeing all of you here, and especially some that we haven't seen in a while. I didn't do a social last weekend, so I feel like I missed you guys. But so excited to see everybody there, and then also starting to see some of our first time socialers. Welcome. We are so excited that you are joining us. So take a little bit of a big deep breath, and don't worry, I'm going to be the only one on camera. I'm going to be the only one talking. So all you need to worry about is the chat, or if you want to just be here for examples, or if you just want to be here to get some ideas on your journal. So make sure you have those sticky notes handy or your phone handy to take those screenshots or snapshots. But there's definitely a little bit of a cadence to kind of figuring out how to do socials. And that's okay. It takes a little practice because sometimes maybe you just want to work in your journal, which is fantastic. Then there are other times that you don't really want to touch your journal. You just want to be here for the amazing community that we've built. So you're just here for the celebration and the support in the chat. That is fine. You can choose to participate in as much or as little as you want to. And at the same time, no one is going to be coming over your shoulder to see how much progress you've made on your setup, but we are just excited that you have set aside this amount of time for you to work on your self-care journey and what you want this week to look like. So as always, please be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Please respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. We do ask that you limit repetitive product and accessory questions, but we do have some of those discussions because we are #team stickers. They want to be used. They want to be loved. Their purpose is to be put on a piece of paper to make you happy. And then as always, why Jennifer and I have some information. We do not have a lot of the specifics around the accounts with Silk and Sonder. So we will most likely redirect those customer care inquiries to our team, which are at hello@silkandsonder.com. And as always, we want to remind everybody that Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if you need to set up some of those mental or emotional boundaries because you've had a week, there's something that you're not ready to talk about, there are certain things you don't want to discuss, you don't have to, but we are glad that you have come exactly as you are. And we want you to participate exactly how you want to in this. We're going to give you great ideas, some really fun and exciting new ways to approach it, but also some of those just friendly reminders because we're the best accountability buddies when it comes to the setup pages in the Silk and Sonder journal. So we are closing out our last week of opportunity. And I still love this theme, but I feel like I've gone on a little bit of a weird journey with opportunity this month because, and I think a lot of it was also things that I was seeing in the app, is that there are certain people with certain milestones, because I still feel like opportunity is one of those momentum building, one of those feelings of you need to take an action, you need to do something, you need to be thinking about something. So I love those themes that really have that propel forward, that propellant that makes you want to do things. But I was pondering the idea for what is the right amount of time between opportunities. And the reason I asked that is because I have an amazing support system between family and friends. And I always get asked, you know, don't get too comfortable. What is going to be your next step? What's the next thing? What are we going to add to our resume? So I've always had that kind of goal-oriented personality. But at the same time, what is that line between embracing and enjoying the opportunity you created and being too comfortable, or even, I dare say, lazy, because you don't know when or what your next opportunity is going to be? So that's why I've kind of asked this obviously rhetorical question a little bit, but what is the right amount of time between opportunities? When do I get to sit and enjoy the fruits of said opportunity before I have to start thinking of another one? So that was kind of how I'm going to kind of end on opportunity this month. But for me, it was kind of that balance of, because I am very much keen to, I'm a workaholic. I burn at both ends. I burn at all the ends. I get very, very close to burnout. But I still feel that need to have the answer to, well, I can't get too comfortable. And then that's where it's like, well, is comfortable versus lazy and all those things that I feel like, you know, even the little things of like, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get dressed this morning. Okay, I have gotten dressed. How long do I just get to sit and enjoy being dressed before I move on to the next thing that I want to do? So that's kind of what I'm pondering this week. So I would absolutely appreciate the conversation of what do you think the right amount of time is, but I also feel like it's a way to embrace those different milestones in each life, because again, it can be very professional oriented or professional development oriented, and there are times that that's just not what our current milestone or goal or chapter is. So that is what I am sitting with as we close out opportunity. So we are going to do our final week for the opportunity mind map. And don't worry if that sounds a little strange to everybody who is new here. We'll walk you through it. Just know that that is something that is unique to the weekly setups. So it is an additional journal prompt opportunity that we have. And then we're going to close out, we're going to work on that rosebud thorn, which is an excellent weekly reflection, and then move into those magical weekly setup pages. So for the opportunity mind map, again, this is the monthly mind map or the weekly mind map. And so this is how we dive a little bit deeper into each month's theme in the weekly setups. So you're going to find a blank piece of paper in your journal. And don't worry, if you haven't set up this, you can jump right into that final week. We usually keep it to 4 weeks. So you would separate it into 4 different areas or sections on that page. Or you can use a scratch piece of paper or a blank spot in your journal. And we like to then reflect on the month's theme and that type of thing. So it's a little bit deeper dive. And as always, if you show up late or you miss one, we always carry over the previous weeks. So if this is your first time joining us, you do not need to catch up and do 1, 2, and 3. You can jump right into 4, or you don't even have to work on it at all if you really aren't kind of as engaged with the theme of opportunity. This is just kind of how we start our getting our kind of journal mode on. So for week 4, we are focusing on community. And that's to reflect on a time when you're part of a community event or initiative. How did it make you feel connected to the people around you? And what impact did you have on the community as a whole? How could you contribute to the community in the future? So this one can be, I feel like, a little overwhelming because sometimes you're just not as engaged in your community, or I feel like in my situation, I've relocated within the last, I'm a little over a year now, but I haven't quite built the same community that I had in other areas. So I like to include other ways of potentially looking at this prompt. So you can reflect on a community event or initiative. And then how did you make you feel connected to the people around you? And then I also want to provide that reminder that there is no scale to community. And I feel like that's where it becomes daunting is, not everyone has to be on that kind of city council level, state level, any of those things. It could be kind of your little group that you have created around you as you would define your community. And so a couple ways to look at it is, have you volunteered or contributed to a cause that you truly believe in? Another thing is that you can look at this as an opportunity to reflect on, have you benefited from someone in the community creating a space that you felt safe, supported, growth, or confidence in? You see one of those like magical like news reports that just makes you feel good. And so you're like, man, they're doing great things. And this is a chance to like kind of shout that out. Or you can kind of think a little hypothetical with like future opportunities. Is there something in your community that you could create? So now you could create your own initiative or event that you really feel like you could kind of dive into. There are no rules with it, and you can kind of create your own and be a little bit creative with it. For me, my community, it's the same community that I sort of shout out for these because it's just one that always puts a smile on my face and go back to it. When I was in San Diego, I was a part of the Princess Project organization, which provided free prom dresses that were donated by a bunch of different people and different community leaders, those type of things. And we gave free prom dresses to anybody that wanted or needed it to attend prom. So it was open to juniors and seniors in the area. You could sign up for a slot, and we turned it into the like cutest little boutique. And it was just a wonderful experience. Not only did I find just the amazing humans that ran it, they are still some of my amazing friends. They are the perfect cheerleaders that I needed in that like kind of weird transition time. But then it was also just like having so much fun and the magic of prom dresses. And I know it sounds cheesy and probably a little old-fashioned, but the excitement that these girls could feel and seeing their parents or their mothers or their grandmothers or their friends get all excited about it because there was no cost to them. We didn't ask for any sort of economic proof. If you wanted it, you were there, and we had amazing, and it becomes that very like tailored experience. And so again, we laugh, we cry, we clap, we have all the feelings during it, and they just leave and it's magical, and they come back and volunteer as well. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful girl thing that I loved participating in. And so we are going to dive into those community opportunities. Like I said, here are a couple different ways you can approach this. But we would love to hear how you are kind of approaching this prompt, or maybe some of those community impacts that, like you said, that hit you in the feels. Like I said, I've got a little teary-eyed talking about it now. But it is just a really fun way to kind of embrace it. And I love when these pages are finished because they look so happy. It's a really fun like celebration of what you've done, but also another way to kind of connect to the theme a little bit more. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to give you guys some time to work on this, and we will see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. And I feel like Jennifer brought up a really good point, the social media communities that you're a part of. And obviously, your Silk and Sonder community is one of those, because I guarantee you, each and every one of you has had some sort of unique impact, or even those that are brand new and this is your first time showing up. It's the fact that you're taking that kind of, a little bit of a leap of faith and joining something that may be a little out of your comfort zone. But I guarantee you, the smiley face or the acknowledgement, or even just the fact that someone out there said, I hear what you're saying, I feel what you're saying, and I understand, that brings so much joy and connection, even with just all of the random names there. So if you couldn't quite come up with something, you can certainly reflect on the Silk and Sonder community. But this is what's so great about these mind map questions, is you can actually look at them throughout the week. So that's why I always have the little friendly reminder in the bottom left is don't force what doesn't flow. You're allowed to take space and revisit things later. So you can jot down that question, and maybe when you get a little bit of that aha moment or a little bit of inspiration, or even just a little bit of time to yourself to kind of go through and kind of jot down some of those ideas. So thank you everybody for sharing. We are now going to move to the rosebud thorn, which if you're in your October journal, that's on page 44. If you are maybe joining us on that Head Start with the November journal, that's going to be on a blank page, because we usually have the rosebud thorn at the end of the previous week, because this is our opportunity to acknowledge the wins, kind of ask for support on those thorns or challenges, and get excited for the budding opportunities that can be there, because as we know, the roller coaster of the week that can exist. So the opportunity to see, again, those good and bad and everything in between is really nice, because then maybe we can use those, ironically, as I say, as we push forward into the next week, we can use those for things that we want to kind of start, stop, or continue, or even just the opportunity to do that. So we have the ability to do that. So for a rose, that can be a highlight, a win, something that made you smile, something that made you happy, something that was just you embraced an opportunity or something that you were proud of. I was really fortunate that I got to go see the Ocean Film Festival World Tour, which was amazing. It was 6 different documentaries on all things ocean, with kind of a little bit of a conservation overtone. And that's just because my background is biological oceanography, specializing in marine conservation. So I love stuff like this. And there were 2 amazing documentaries that I loved. One was called The Ice Maiden, which was about a woman who solo navigated, circumnavigated Antarctica in a sailboat, unassisted, and simultaneously all by herself, which was, it honestly, edge of my seat, read like a Hollywood film. And if Hollywood doesn't make it into a film, they need to. And then the other one was a man who was a photographer. He was a surfing photographer out of Hawaii. He ended up having, losing his leg in a shark attack, and is now one of the top shark conservationists in the US, and is lobbying for additional, not only federal US regulations, but also global regulations for shark conservation. So amazing films. I always, one of those, if you can support a independent filmmaker, a documentary, please do so. They do amazing things. The Bud, I feel like this is one of those like Silk and Sonder lessons learned that kind of slapped me in the face, because it's an emerging opportunity, something you're looking forward to, something that you're embracing. So I have now decided to delegate my cleaning to Molly Maids. They're amazing. And part of it is because I am currently renting a fully furnished apartment, but the cleaning equipment they sent that come with it, it's not good. So I was not making any progress other than frustrating, hitting my head against the wall, no progress. So I caved. And she did say to me that if you can delegate it, why don't you? And I was like, have you read my journal? Have you been spying on my Silk and Sonder events? So I am thrilled, I'm excited. And even everybody else is like, why haven't you done it sooner? It is what it is, but I'm excited. And then the thorn, I graduated from the Naval Academy, and my Navy team was originally 6-0, which is awesome. And They had a very poor showing against Notre Dame, and it made me sad. So we'd love to hear any of those thorns, maybe something that didn't go well, something that makes you a little sad, or something that is taking up too much space in your brain. So I'm going to give you some time to work on those rosebud thorns, because we love to celebrate those roses with you. We love to get excited about the upcoming buds, and then we also like to acknowledge and provide a little extra love, support, and thoughts towards those thorns. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And really, what I like about this is, again, you get to celebrate something that you did well. But if you have a hard time maybe finding something that went well, or a particular rose, maybe you can repurpose one of the sections in the upcoming pages so that you can bring those a little bit more to the forefront. Because I'm definitely one of those that likes to dwell on the negative. But I do always like this exercise because you're able to see the possibilities, which usually have to some optimism to it, but also try and find some of those roses amongst the thorns. And then, like I said, I also love the magic of being able to share that and just put it out into the universe. And definitely one of those kind of like, no judgment, no comment. I just need someone else to read and acknowledge that here's the good, the bad, and everything in between. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. So now we're going to move to the weekly planner, and this is going to be on page 52 and 53 in your October journals, or if you're in your November journal, it's going to be page 26 and 27. And so The way I always start these is this is your permission to do whatever you need for this week to these pages. And sometimes what you need is exactly the section as it's written. And sometimes it's connecting all of the different sections to support what you want to get out for this week. And other times you need to repurpose everything. And sometimes repurposing everything will also be not utilizing a specific section. So we're going to talk through all of those. So just because I am presenting a certain thing or speaking through a certain thing, or you don't quite see an example of something that you want to do, throw that into the chat to get some advice. But there is no right or wrong way to set up your journal. You can always come back to asking yourself, what do you need this week? And you can then answer that. So again, no right or wrong way to do this. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel that you can get through this upcoming week. So the way I approach this, the top part, so again, top of page 52 is this week I want to feel. I ask myself, how do I want to feel this time next week? I am definitely goal oriented and a little bit driven that way, but I also love the idea of always needing to kind of come back to a center point. As we talk about the highs and lows of the week, I always want to come back to an equilibrium. I like to keep an even keel. So it's one of those that I always ask myself, how do I want to feel this time next week? And so couple different ways to approach this. That can be a particular word. It can be the same word that you used last week. It can be the same word that you came up with your word of the year for 2024. Sometimes you want to feel more something or less something. Sometimes you need a different word for each day so that you can accomplish that day. Sometimes it's not really a word. Sometimes it's more of a description or even a particular definition of one of the words. Sometimes it's just the happy little ghost or the relaxed little giraffe. Stickers are amazing and they can sum up a lot of things. So I'm gonna put on just a quick little bit of a song, but we would love to see in the chat how you want to feel this time next week. We'll see you soon. Thank you everybody for sharing. Loved seeing the intentional optimism for this. So love kind of, like I said, I like the idea of being able to throw this at the top of my page so that I can connect all of the pieces to it, with that being my end goal, my end idea. How do I want to feel this time next week? And so now we can kind of start building some of these other sections to support that. And so we have our weekly major 3 goals, but maybe these are the weekly minor 3 goals, or just weekly goals, or maybe just 3 goals, maybe 2 goals, maybe 1 goal. Don't let the titles of these sections intimidate you, because you can always cover them up and write something else in. But the couple things that you can approach this, for me, these are my mental and emotional reminders. So these don't change too much for me on a weekly basis. But a lot of people will also approach this as different categories. Maybe you have a professional goal, a mind goal, a body goal. Maybe these are just the top 3 things that you want to get done. Maybe they're those weekly reminders that you need to mentally and emotionally support how you want to feel this time next week. Maybe it's a me, a home, and a work. Maybe it's your quotes. I feel like as we move to the holidays, maybe it's your top 3 holiday things that you want to do. We also love a good alliteration. Maybe it's productive, peaceful, powerful, a frog, a fun, and something fierce. Maybe it's also the combination of here are my 3 goals, and here are the things that I need to do on my to-do list, which is that square right next door that'll connect directly to what you need to accomplish those goals and what are the steps you're going to take to do it. You can also break it down into maybe you have an early morning goal, a midday goal, and an evening goal. You'll see some of those bingo boards starting to pop out and pop into each of these sections. We love a good gamification motivation to get us through. Or maybe you're like, I love the graph squares, so I'm going to utilize that as the better format for my to-do list. Maybe these are goals that you want to stop doing. Maybe it's an have fun, a be kind, and a work hard. And so I'm going to give you some time to work on this. Let us know, are you a categories person? Do you tie these directly to your to-do list? Or are these just the 3 things you want to get done this week, or the 3 reminders you need to give yourself so that you can feel the way you want to feel this time next week? So we're still on that page 52, just that next square below. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And just because I moved to different sections, it's because I have to be aware of time, but you can continue to work on previous sections or just jump ahead. Again, you're using this time that you've set aside for you and making sure that you're getting done what you want to get done. So then we move into our weekly to-dos. There are a couple different ways to approach this. You can connect them directly to those weekly goals and a couple of those things, or you can again treat it again as something completely separate. And so maybe this is a to-do list, maybe it's a to-do list. For me, this does change pretty frequently between the to-dos and the Eisenhower matrix. The Eisenhower matrix is that do, decide, delegate, or delete. So as I talked about, one of the situations that just I live alone, I've been able to delegate some of those things. And then, like I said, I always got a chuckle when it was pointed back out to me that if I could delegate it, I should. So I will usually kind of jump in with that because a lot of times I don't accomplish what I want to accomplish on my to-do list or my to-do list because I just need a little help with prioritization. And so you can always, again, put those in categories. Maybe it's a ta-da bingo, maybe embracing that Pomodoro technique if you have a couple, if one of your end goal or one of your weekly goals requires multiple steps. Or again, it's also another way of prioritizing. Maybe you break it down into the to-dos that you need, the to-dos that you want. Maybe it's a don't do this or a do this instead reminder. So again, the gamification with that pyramid there is that in order to reach the top of your pyramid, you have to get a certain amount of things done. Maybe you need to break down the to-dos per day. But at the same time, you can repurpose this section with maybe it's a weekly to be, maybe it's those happy thought reminders, maybe it's a cleaning bingo, the not to do, or again, if you maybe struggled with some of those roses, maybe it's the weekly wins. Someone recommended the weekly ahas. So those are the things that they kind of those maybe inspiration or epiphany moments. And then I just saw that someone liked the idea of the need, want, and hope. Not only did this person break it down into work and personal, but they had a need, want, and wish breakdown of it as well. So we would love to hear if you are a to-do person, a to-da person, a categories person, or any of those, because at the end of the day, we just want them to done. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Love seeing all of the repurposing, but also the different approaches to the to-dos in this particular section. So now we're moving on to the bottom of page 52 with that habit and activity tracker. And usually frame this with the idea that your monthly habit and activity tracker are the things that you want to do every single day. For me, the weekly habit and activity tracker, I'm a creature of habit, I will pull 3 of those items over into my weekly tracker, and I will then add the lens of reality, which is based on, weather. It'll be based on what type of workload I have, what other activities or hobbies that I have going on, what course assignments I have going on. So that's kind of what I realized, is that I was not quite accomplishing everything on my habits and activity tracker on a weekly basis, because I really wasn't setting myself up for success, because I wasn't considering those things that I cannot control. Because at the end of the day, there are only 24 hours in the day, and some of those times you can, you can dictate how you use that time, and other times it is dictated for you. So you can certainly have, maybe it's a habit and activities that you want to focus on that you want to stop. Maybe you want to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and kind of set specific goals for it. Maybe you don't want to set goals for it. Maybe you keep that blank. Maybe these are more of the kind of general squishy reminders or even the crunchy reminders if you've been to a social with Bailey. I know also if I have friends visiting or family visiting or if I'm on vacation, this gets a big old sticker of like, I'm not here for the habities right now. I am just going to be present and do everything that I want to do. Or maybe that's the type of structure that you need when you're on vacation or those type of things. So I feel like this definitely comes down to what do you need that week. I also like the idea that you can break it down into the traditional weekdays and the weekends. Maybe there are certain things that you want to get accomplished on the weekends versus the weekdays, or maybe you have, you know, different family demands that are there on the weekends. So maybe your habities looks a little bit different for that time. And also same thing, just because there are 5 lines does not mean you need to have 5 habities. Maybe it's just 2, maybe it's 1, maybe it's, again, no habities. Or again, some of those categorized reminders. I always recommend doing something fun, doing something a little spontaneous or something that's a little bit different, something that's going to make you happy so that you can again find some of those roses. And I love the iconography of these. I still very much a bit of a visual learner. So if you need something fun to add to your habities, we have still some more of those October bucket lists. I know we're kind of near the end of it, but these are also maybe some fall adventure lists. Or how to romanticize fall. I am still in that like warm, cozy, fluffy blanket rom-com mode, or same thing with the fall living ideas. These just make me happy, make me smile. And so I always recommend maybe throwing one of those into the habities. And the other idea that I know Jennifer O for sure has used in the past is that these can also be reminders of how you can connect with your journal. This can be another tool that you can add to your tool belt. So maybe it's revisiting your intentions. Maybe you have a line item to revisit your intentions. Maybe it's work on one of the journal prompt pages. Maybe it's spend 5 minutes on the coloring page. Maybe it's check in with those monthly habit trackers. But this is one of those tools that you can help yourself. It's essentially an open book test if you want to look at it that way. So you can absolutely use it as those reminders, especially I feel like if you find that you're maybe not getting as much accomplished in the journal as you would like to, I highly, highly recommend adding a line item here to help you support that particular goal. So I'm going to stop talking and I would love to hear what habities you're working on or how you connect these different pieces back to the journal as a whole. And we'll see you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing all of the wonderful habits that you are working on. And also, again, just that kind of magical insight that I feel like it was that like kind of eye-opening aha moment when it was reminded that like this could be used to help support you across the journal just to accomplish the journal tasks. But thank you, everybody, for sharing. We are now going to flip over to page 53, which I lovingly refer to as the B side because music fan. So this is that B side of the record that I don't use all the time, but there are some amazing gems when I really want them. And so we'll start with the meal plan. The meal plan tends to be repurposed often, and that's just because it kind of takes up a large portion of the particular page, but it's an amazing template. And so you can absolutely use it as a meal plan, especially if you're working on kind of budgeting. Or I would even say I would start to use it even more as a meal plan, especially as I roll more into kind of the holidays. And I do quite a bit of traveling around this time, so making sure that nothing goes bad or that I always have something to eat, those type of things. Maybe this is where you add that one good thing or the one rose for each day. Maybe this is where the to-do list lives. Maybe it's more of a meal plan for the soul, so you're focusing on some of the journal prompts that you can dive into, embracing the other themes. Love it. Good karma sparks, the budgeting your calories. You can certainly turn it into whatever type of health tracker you're looking for, either real time or even a symptom tracker if you're on that type of kind of healthcare journey. Maybe these are the priorities. This is also a great place to put those affirmations. If you have a couple different apps that you get those affirmations, highly recommend the Silk and Sonder app affirmations. Those are great. Maybe it's your clothing plan. Maybe you work from home, so you got to make sure that you're not wearing the same thing to those meetings. I have also used it as a packing for travel so that I can not overpack, and I found it works amazing things. Maybe it's as simple as asking how you filled your cup today, especially when you can't fill from an empty cup, so you need to make sure that you are resetting and refreshing yourself. Maybe it's a particular word of the day that you want to reflect on those weekly spread pages on the next page. Mind body health plan is also something you can kind of plan around, or it's something that you can fill in real time. Again, maybe this can be a focus on some of those alliterations, or I like Nathania. I always give her a shout out here because she does the I feel and the I need, and you can do that during the you can either do it in the morning or in the evening as kind of one of those reflection things, but it's one of those, there's nothing more simplistic or magical than a T-chart, and it is just those little things of asking the question to then get an answer so that you can continue to support, and it's just a really great, easy check-in for yourself. Maybe this is those reminders to unplug for an hour, a highlight for the day. Maybe it's a quote. I love the observe and not absorb. I feel like at the end of the year, that becomes really big. Maybe it's, again, another fun bucket list. Maybe it's how did you care for yourself? It's a reading log. Maybe you need to focus on those 7 types of rest because it's not just necessarily the physical rest that you're needing. Maybe you need a mental or creative or emotional. Again, here are some other fun, just self-care goals, other reminders, or even tips with the holiday spooky spin. Shopping lists can again tie into all of these as well. They can be the shopping list to support your meal plan, or they can be the shopping list. I will repurpose that when I'm doing the packing list, so I'll have all my clothes that I'm going to wear for that day, and then all of the extra stuff I need to do because I've got like, I feel like 8 different chargers and 4 different converters for the like 3 pieces of electronics I need to bring. But again, this is also a great place for the bingos. We love a good bingo board. We love the themes. There are boring stuff bingo. Maybe it's a celebrate the wins bingo. I know Jennifer O has done a birthday bingo. Maybe it's a Halloween bingo. Maybe it's just a just for fun bingo. Or again, maybe these are the to be reminders. I like the ideas for mini breaks at work. Or again, as that traditional shopping list, or again, a really great place to put a fun sticker and maybe reflect on it. So I'm going to let you work on this little page before we move into our closing for this particular social. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone, sharing. Sorry, that song makes me so happy. I love Little Shop of Horrors. It's such a fun, fun, dark musical, but that's a great song. But thank you, everybody, for sharing. And then the very last section on page 53 is the I Am Loving, which gives you the opportunity to just kind of write down something that you are loving that makes you happy, just a general acknowledgement of something that is going to put a big smile on your face. So you can absolutely write that down. And what I also love about it is almost becomes a little bit of an inside joke with yourself, because I feel like I've flipped through the ones that I've written and it's just been so random, but I love it. So, as always, we would love to continue the conversation in the Silk and Sonder app. So if you would like to share your pages, we would love to see them there. You guys provide amazing inspiration, as well as examples. We use them in all of our socials, so we appreciate those as well. And then, just as a closeout, Jennifer is going to start putting some of those links into the chat. But the ones I want to highlight for sure is that survey. We read everything, so let us know what socials you want, when you want them, all of those amazing things. We love the feedback there. And same thing if you have questions around the any of the new beta programs, beta coaching, all of those things that come out. hello@silkandsonder.com is the great way to do that. And then the YouTube link. So if you cannot attend the social, or you want other facilitators' perspective, or you have to leave early or show up a little bit late, all of those are there that you can definitely come back into. We have got a ton of them. So definitely, if you feel like you're needing a social, missing a social, they live there so that you can have your social. This is a snapshot of the playlist I just played. I will include it in the chat, the link to the Spotify playlist. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. I am so excited to close out October. Can you believe October is already over? Got 2 months left at the end of 2024. I can't believe where has the year gone? Where has the month gone? Where has the week gone? But I couldn't imagine spending a Silken Sonder social without all of you, and especially on a Saturday night. Thank you for setting aside this time for you. And we hope to see you at a future social, especially as we move into the monthly setups to get ready for November. Thank you again. Have a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful rest of your weekend, and let's finish the October with an amazing opportunity that we have. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
We gather here for this special occasion. One night only and limited engagement. So stomp your feet and clap your hands for Skeleton Sam and his graveyard band.
I was just a little fool when I heard it